If you've been feeling a strong pull to stay quiet lately, if words seem to catch in your throat before they leave your mouth, if you sense an invisible hand covering your lips every time you're about to share what God has shown you, stop right now and listen. This message is not for everyone. This is a direct instruction for those who have been marked, for those who carry something precious in their spirit, for those who know they've been set apart. The command is clear, and it's urgent. Hold your tongue. This is not the time to talk. There's a reason you opened this video right now. There's a reason you've been feeling restless, misunderstood, perhaps even isolated. You've been wondering if you should speak up, defend yourself, announce what's coming, share the vision, tell people what God whispered to you in the secret place. But deep in your spirit, you know something's different this season. You know that what worked before won't work now. The strategies of yesterday don't apply to the warfare of today, and heaven is issuing a mandate that will test everything you think you know about your voice and your calling. This isn't about being silenced by fear. This isn't about shrinking back or playing small. This is about divine strategy. This is about understanding that there are moments when your silence carries more power than 1,000 words ever could. There are seasons when heaven requires you to lock your testimony in a vault, not because it isn't valuable, but precisely because it is. When something is priceless, you don't display it in the marketplace. You guard it. You protect it. You wait for the appointed time. Think about an archer for a moment. Picture a skilled archer standing on a battlefield, arrow drawn, bow pulled back with perfect tension. Does that archer announce to the enemy exactly where the arrow will land? Does he shout out his strategy, his position, his next 3 moves? Of course not. The power is in the precision, and precision requires silence. The enemy is watching. The enemy is listening, and right now, some of you have been speaking so much that you've given away your coordinates. You've announced your next move before heaven released you to make it. You've shared the promise before it was fully formed in the womb of prayer. There's an ancient wisdom that tells us there is a time for everything under heaven, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to keep silence and a time to speak. We live in a generation that has forgotten the power of the first part of that equation. Everyone wants to speak, to post, to announce, to declare, to prophesy, but who is willing to sit in the uncomfortable tension of silence? Who is willing to let their words marinate in the presence of God until they become seasoned, mature, backed by the full weight of heaven? Right now, in this very hour, God is separating those who speak from impulse and those who speak from instruction. He's dividing those who talk because they need validation from those who stay quiet because they've already received it from Him. This is a test. Chosen one. This is a divine examination of your maturity, your trust, and your willingness to obey, even when the instruction doesn't make natural sense. Let me tell you what's really happening when God tells you to be silent. First, He's protecting you from contamination. Not every ear that hears your voice has a pure heart. Not every smile in your face is rooting for your success. There are people in your circle right now who smile when you speak, but secretly seethe with envy when you share what God is doing. Your words, precious as they are, can become weapons in the wrong hands. Someone can take what you said in faith and twist it into gossip. Someone can take your testimony and use it to measure their own lack, which then turns into bitterness toward you. Silence protects your anointing from being diluted by the jealousy of others. Second, He's shielding you from sabotage. There are assignments against your life that only activate when you speak prematurely. The enemy has been waiting for you to announce your next move so he can set up roadblocks. He's been waiting for you to reveal the details of what God promised so he can dispatch interference. Think about it. How many times have you shared something good that was about to happen, only to watch it fall apart shortly after? How many times have you announced a breakthrough, only to face the biggest battle immediately following? That wasn't coincidence. That was warfare triggered by premature announcement. Third, silence is God's way of developing your discernment. When you're forced to hold your words, you become more careful about who deserves access to your inner world. You start recognizing the difference between curiosity and genuine concern. You begin to see who's asking because they care and who's asking because they're gathering intelligence. Not everyone who says, "How are you?" really wants to know. Not everyone who asks, "What's God been showing you?" has earned the right to hear the answer. Your silence teaches you to guard your heart with wisdom, to become selective. To understand that intimacy with God requires boundaries with people. Fourth, there's a strategy in your silence that you cannot see yet. God is working behind the scenes, arranging pieces on a chessboard you don't have access to. Your job isn't to understand every move. Your job is to trust the one who sees the whole board. When a seed is planted in the ground, it doesn't immediately sprout into a tree. It sits in the dark, in the dirt, in what looks like death. But underneath the surface, roots are forming. Strength is building. A foundation is being established. If that seed could talk, it might complain about the darkness, about the waiting, about feeling buried. But the farmer knows this is exactly where the seed needs to be for the harvest to come. You are that seed right now. You're in the dark soil of silence, and it feels uncomfortable. It feels like you're being hidden, overlooked, forgotten. But heaven sees you. Heaven is watering you in secret. And when the appointed time comes, you won't just speak, you will emerge. You won't just have a word, you will have a movement. The silence isn't punishment. It's preparation. There's another reality you need to understand. The power of life and death is in the tongue. Your words are not neutral. They create, they destroy, they bind, they loose. And right now, in this season of intense spiritual warfare, your words carry more weight than ever before. One careless sentence can open a door you'll spend months trying to close. One moment of venting to the wrong person can give the enemy legal access to areas of your life that were previously protected. This is why heaven is saying, be still, be careful, be wise. Not everything you feel needs to be said. Not everything you think needs to be shared. Not every thought needs to become a post. Some of you have been frustrated because you feel like you have so much to say. But every time you try to speak, the words won't come out right. You feel blocked. You feel muted. You think something's wrong with you. But what if nothing's wrong? What if God himself has placed a divine seal over your mouth because he's protecting what's inside you? What if the blockage you're feeling is actually his hand, saying, not yet, my child, not yet. I'm not withholding from you, I'm preparing you for a greater release. But if you speak now, you'll abort what I'm forming. Trust me. Hold your tongue. This is where many chosen ones fail the test. They interpret silence as rejection. They mistake God's pause for God's disapproval. So they force the door open. They speak when they should wait. They announce when they should be silent. And in doing so, they step out of divine timing and into human reasoning. Human reasoning says, if I don't speak up, I'll be forgotten. Divine strategy says, if you speak too soon, you'll disqualify yourself. Let me be very clear about something. Your silence right now is not weakness. It's not fear. It's not lack of faith. Your silence is authority. It's the authority of a person who has learned to take orders from heaven rather than pressure from people. It's the authority of someone who doesn't need to defend themselves because God has already vindicated them in the spiritual realm. It's the authority of a son or daughter who knows that the Father's approval is the only approval that matters. When Jesus stood before his accusers, there were moments when he didn't say a word, not because he couldn't defend himself. He was the Word made flesh. He could have spoken universes into existence with a single syllable, but he chose silence because silence was the strategy of that hour. He understood something that we're still learning. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is absolutely nothing. Sometimes your restraint speaks louder than your rebuttal. So what do you do in this season of silence? You pray, you worship, you listen. You let God give you downloads that are for you and you alone. You journal what he's saying, but you don't post it. You receive the vision, but you don't announce it. You feel the shift, but you don't explain it. You become a vault for heaven's secrets, a trusted steward of holy things. And in that place of hidden communion, God begins to reveal things to you that he could never show you when you were busy talking. There's a maturity that comes from silence. There's a depth that only develops in the quiet. Shallow people talk all the time because they have nothing deep enough to protect. But those who have been to the depths with God, those who have seen things they can't unsee and heard things they can't unhear, they know the value of silence. They know that not every revelation is for public consumption. They know that some things are too sacred to speak. If you've been feeling lonely in your silence, I need you to understand something. God hasn't isolated you. He's insulated you. He's creating a barrier between you and the noise of the world so that you can hear him clearly. He's pulling you away from the crowd, not to punish you, but to promote you. He's making you comfortable in the secret place because that's where kings and queens are made. That's where character is forged. That's where the superficial falls away and what's real remains. This season is testing what you're made of. It's revealing whether you need the applause of people or the approval of God. It's showing whether you're driven by ego or led by the Spirit. It's exposing whether your ministry, your calling, your gift is about you or about him. And here's the truth: if you can't be faithful in the silence, you're not ready for the stage. If you can't be trusted with a secret, you won't be trusted with a platform. If you can't sit still when heaven says wait, you'll run ahead when heaven says go and miss the mark. Entirely, some of you right now are feeling the weight of this word because you've already made the mistake. You already spoke too soon. You already shared the vision with the wrong person. You already announced the promise before it was time. And now you're dealing with the consequences, the confusion, the opposition, the feeling like things are harder than they should be. If that's you, hear this. God is merciful. He can redeem your mistakes, but He's also calling you to a new level of obedience moving forward. Learn from this. Let this season teach you. Let the pain of premature speech become the motivation for patient silence. There's a sound coming from your life that the world has never heard before. There's a message inside you that will shift atmospheres and change lives. But it's not time yet. The oil is still being pressed. The gold is still being refined. The word is still being weighted in the balances of heaven. And when it's finally time for you to speak, your words won't just inform, they will transform. They won't just inspire, they will ignite. They won't just encourage, they will empower. But right now, the instruction is clear. Hold your tongue, guard your words, protect what God has given you. Let the enemy wonder what you're up to. Let the critics assume you've gone quiet because you have nothing to say. Let the doubters think you've given up, because while they're watching your silence, God is working on your behalf in ways you cannot imagine. He's opening doors you didn't knock on. He's making connections you didn't pursue. He's preparing you for levels you didn't even ask for. And when the time comes, and it will come, you won't have to force your way into the room. The door will open by itself, and your presence will command the attention your words used to beg for. This is not the time to talk, chosen one. This is the time to trust. This is the time to obey. This is the time to let your silence become your sanctuary and your strength. You are not forgotten. You are not overlooked. You are in a divine incubation period. And what's being formed in you right now will astound those who counted you out. If this word has resonated deep in your spirit, if you know without a doubt that heaven is speaking directly to you through this message, I want you to do something. Drop the word silence in the comments right now. Let that be your covenant with God, that you're committing to obey this instruction. Let it be your declaration that you're choosing His timing over your impatience. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, do it now. There's more coming for those who have ears to hear. Don't miss what heaven is releasing in this season. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and lock arms with a community that's committed to walking in divine strategy, not human reasoning. Your silence today is your strength tomorrow. Trust the process. Trust the timing. Trust the one who called you. He hasn't brought you this far to drop you now.